this video is intended as a supplement to the modules that are already uploaded via our LMS platform. You can already access that using your LMS accounts. So in this video, we are going to make a demonstration on how to solve for all the possible questions that will be asked of you regarding our topic, cost volume profit analysis. As we move along this video, magbibigay din kami ng additional explanations that would help you in understanding kung bakit ba natin sinosolve yung mga problems in that certain way. Cost volume profit analysis. Ano nga ba yung cost volume profit analysis? This is a study into the relationships between your cost, your volume, and your profit. And ano nga ba yung madalas na tinatanong? Meron tayong break-even point. Number 2, desired profit. Number 3, yung ating margin of safety. And number 4, yung ating operating leverage factor. Isa-isahin natin yan mamaya. Pero before we move on to solving itong mga usual na tinatanong, pag-usapan muna natin yung contribution margin income statement. This is a very useful tool in the analysis of cost, volume, and profit. Bakit? Kasi yung kanyang format, which is sales minus variable cost is equal to contribution margin, and then less your fixed cost. Ito yung ating profit before tax. So makikita kasi natin dito yung relationships ng sales, yung mga cost natin, tsaka yung profit. Itong format na ito, although first time yung may encounter, kasi di ba in your previous semesters ang alam natin yung sales minus cost of sales is equal to your gross profit minus your operating expenses. Yan yung ating profit before tax. So ito, this is a different format and it shows the relationship between your cost, your volume, your sales volume, and your profit. So ito talaga yung gagamitin natin. We will be using this contribution margin income statement format very heavily sa pag-solve natin, lalong-lalo na dito sa unang dalawa, sa break-even point at sa desired profit. So, ang highlight dito is yung contribution margin. Among the items listed here, siya yung wala dun sa cost, volume, and profit, di ba? So, meron tayo, sa title ng lesson, meron tayong cost, volume, and profit. Pero yung contribution margin hindi nabanggit. Kaya lang, itong contribution margin is a very important part of the CVP analysis. So, it's important na tayo maintindihan natin and dapat meron tayong deep understanding and deep appreciation for the concept of contribution margin and also how it behaves in certain situations. We will talk about that more mamaya. So we begin. Dito muna tayo sa break-even point. Ano ba ang break-even point? Break-even point is the point where a company breaks even. Ano bang ibig sabihin ng break-even? When we say break-even, this is the point wherein yung profit natin is equal to 0. Hindi tayo lugi, hindi din tayo nagkaroon ng ganansya. 0 yung profit natin. That's break-even. So, at this point, pag ang profit is equal to 0, it means that your total cost is also equal to your total sales. Kung 0 ito, syempre, dapat yung cost na total will be equal to your sales. Kasi any number subtracted from itself is equal to 0. And also at this point, all costs are covered. Natutunan ninyo about yung different behavior ng costs doon sa cost accounting ninyo. Meron tayong purely variable, meron tayong purely fixed, and meron din tayong mixed. Of course, meron din tayong step. We are assuming dito na mix yung costs. Kasi kung purely variable yung isang cost, like for example, ibebenta natin itong marker na ito. Let's say that the cost to produce one marker is 20 pesos at ibebenta natin siya ng 30. Ibig sabihin, even if we sell just one, profit tayo kaagad. Kasi hindi natin kinonsider yung fixed cost. We are trying to assume here na ang cost mix. Kasi mas masasakop natin ang mas maraming situations kapag ang cost natin mix. Kasi in real life naman, almost all costs mix talaga. All includes yung variable at yung fixed cost. Kasi yun nga, gaya ng sabi ko kanina, pag ang cost purely variable, automatic covered yan. Beginning from the sale of 1 unit until positive infinity, kahit ilan yan. Kahit isa, kahit sobrang dami, covered ka agad, automatic yung variable cost. Kaya lang, kailangan natin i-consider din yung fixed cost, kailangan ma-cover din natin. Pag-uusapan natin yan again later. Pagdating natin sa discussion natin ng contribution margin. Ito yung characteristics ng break-even point. And paano ba natin i-derive yung formula? Or how are we going to solve for the break-even point? Simple lang. Set lang natin yung profit na maging equal to 0. You have learned about your profit model, cost model, at saka yung revenue model dun sa management science niyo. We'll use something similar to that. Although, wag na natin gamitin yung P of X, R of X, or C of X. Itong contribution margin income statement na ito, express lang natin siya into an equation. So, sales minus variable cost minus fixed cost is equal to your profit before tax. P sub T, profit before tax. So, ito lang siya, pinonvert lang natin into an equation form. Sabi natin, ang profit before tax natin is equal to 0 at the break-even point. Therefore, itong profit before tax, iset lang natin siya na maging 0. And then itong sales na variable cost kasi na ito, this is total sales, this is total variable cost. So, i-express natin siya as a product of your selling price per unit and number of units, tsaka variable cost per unit, tsaka number of units. So, itong sales na ito magiging selling price per unit times your number of units. Let's call it X na lang. Okay? Minus your variable cost per unit times the number of units minus fixed cost. Yung fixed cost kasi, it doesn't care about the number of units na mabebenta or mapoproduce natin. Eh, itong sales na variable, nagde-depend siya dun sa number of units, but not fixed cost. So, ilipat natin itong fixed cost sa kabila, magiging positive siya. Fixed cost is equal to selling price per unit times the number of units minus variable cost per unit times the number of units. So, alam natin na yung sales minus variable cost is equal to contribution margin. Mapa-total man yan or mapa per unit. Or, sige, mathematically, ilabas na lang natin, i-factor out na lang natin yung number of units. Lalabas yung selling price per unit minus variable cost per unit. And we know na ang selling price per unit minus variable cost per unit is your contribution margin per unit times yung number of units is equal to your fixed cost. Divide natin both sides by contribution margin per unit. You have refreshed about this dun sa lesson natin sa management science na linear equations and linear inequalities. Particularly yung division property of equality. What you do sa left, gawin mo rin sa right. So, magka-cancel out ito. Therefore, yung X natin is equal to fixed cost all over your contribution margin per unit. Itong X na ito, this is the number of units at 0 profit. Kasi sinet natin na ang profit before tax natin is 0. So, itong X na ito is your break-even point in units. Pwede ba tayong mag-compute ng break-even points na hindi units? Yes, break-even point in pesos. Ang formula niya would be fixed cost all over your contribution margin ratio. Paano natin kukunin ang contribution margin ratio? Contribution margin ratio is equal to your contribution margin all over sales or CM per unit over your selling price per unit. So ito ang ating formula ng break-even. They are just the same. Yun nga lang ito naka-express in terms of contribution margin per unit. Ito, contribution margin ratio. Try natin. Assume that there is this product na ang selling price per unit niya is equal to 50. Ang variable cost per unit niya is 18. Ang fixed cost niya, let's say 300,000. Magkano ang break-even point in units muna? Okay, so fixed cost is 300,000 all over your contribution margin per unit. Kaya lang hindi sinabi ko anong contribution margin per unit. Kailangan pa bang given yan? Hindi na. Because given naman yung selling price and your variable cost per unit. Subtract lang natin yan, makukuha natin 32 which is your contribution margin per unit. 300,000 divided by 32, makukuha natin 9,375 units. Okay, matitutuha pa kasi pag nakakita kayo ng number na ganito, pesos agad, no? May units ito. Dito naman, say 300,000 na fixed cost divided by your CMR. Given ang CM per unit natin, which we derive, and yung selling price per unit. So 32 over 50 is equal to 64%. That's your contribution margin ratio. And therefore, 300,000 700,000 divided by 64% is equal to 468,750. I-test natin dito sa ating contribution margin income statement kung tama nga talaga yung ating break-even point. So at 9,375 units, ang sales price natin is 468,750. By the way guys, to check kung tama itong dalawa, i-multiply lang natin by your selling price per unit. Is 9,375 times your selling price per unit na 50 equal to 468,750. Yes. And then 9,375 times 18 is 168,750. Makukuha natin ang contribution margin amounting to 300,000 less your fixed cost, 0 na profit before tax. At 9,375 units, wala tayong profit. Hindi rin tayo loss. Na-cover natin lahat ng fixed cost. So, yan ang break-even point. Susunod, yung desired profit. So, sa desired profit, syempre, hindi enough na mag-break-even. Although break-even is a good thing kasi nga hindi tayo loss, at least we are able to cover all of our costs. Hindi pa rin siya sapat because a company is entering into a business for profit primarily. Kaya gusto niya dapat may profit. Therefore, pwedeng gamitin itong tool for planning. So, gusto ko magkaroon ng desired profit na let's say 500,000 pesos. How many units am I going to sell? Good for planning purposes din ito. Let's go back to this equation here. Sales minus variable cost minus fixed cost is equal to profit before tax. Move natin si fixed cost dito, magiging sales minus variable cost is equal to profit before tax plus fixed cost. Alam natin na yung selling price minus variable cost is equal to your contribution margin is equal to profit before tax plus fixed cost. Ito, yung total contribution margin natin is a product of your contribution margin per unit times the number of units sold. So that is equal to your profit before tax plus fixed cost. Division property of equality again, divide both sides by contribution margin per unit. Makukuha natin yung number of units required for us to sell at a certain desired or target profit. So fixed cost plus your profit before tax all over your contribution margin per unit. Very similar to your break-even point. Yun nga lang, okay, nagkaroon ng additional na profit before tax dito. Pangalanan natin siyang required sales in units. Isulat na lang natin dito yung mga formula na na-derive natin. Break-even point in units is equal to fixed cost all over your contribution margin per unit. Kung break-even point in pesos naman, fixed cost all over your contribution margin ratio. How about kapag meron tayong required sales in units para maabot ang isang target profit? That's equal to your fixed cost plus your profit before tax all over your contribution margin per unit. Kung required sales in pesos naman, fixed cost plus your desired profit before tax, okay, all over your CFO. By the way, this is case letter A. Ito naman B dito. Ito naman desired profit or target profit. Ito naman B. Pero first case, without tax. Second case, with tax. So, lalagyan na natin ng effect ng taxes dito. So, before that, before tayo mag-proceed dito sa with tax, i-test muna natin what if may desired profit nga siya na 500,000. So, fixed cost plus your desired profit, that's equal to 800,000. Divided by your contribution margin per unit, which is 32, makukuha natin 25,000 units. Ito, pesos ito. And then, kung yung isa naman, 800,000 divided by 64%, lalabas dyan 1,250,000. Again, you check by multiplying your selling price per unit. Tignan mo kung lalabas nga. So, check ulit natin, 1,250,000 na sales. Variable cost would be 25,000 times 18, 450,000. Lalabas 800,000 na contribution margin, less fixed cost na 300,000. Yung ating profit before tax is 500,000. So we have met yung desired profit natin na 500,000 by selling 25,000 units or by reaching a sales level amounting to 1,250,000. Proceed na tayo sa with tax. What if with tax? Ganun lang din. Para hindi na natin ulitin itong dalawa, dito na lang tayo mag-start. And we know guys that tax is equal to profit before tax times the tax rate. Kasi for simplicity purposes, itong taxes, i-express na lang natin siya as a percentage of your profit before tax. Although matututunan ninyo next semester sa income tax na mas complicated pa doon yung pag-compute ng taxes natin. Pero for now, sabihin na lang natin it's just a mere percentage of your profit before tax. So, ayan siya. Next, yung ating profit after tax is computed by subtracting taxes from your profit before tax. So kung itutuloy natin itong profit after tax, less taxes, ayan na siya. Makukuha natin yung profit after tax. Taxes, and then profit after tax. So, using your substitution property of equality, which you have refreshed sa management science natin again, it does not matter naman kung anong ilalagay natin na term dito. Kasi P is equal to PB times PR naman. So, kahit ano dyan sa dalawa ilagay natin dito, it doesn't matter kasi nga equal naman sila. So, gawin na lang natin siya or ilagay na lang natin itong term na ito, itong expression na ito. Para magkaroon tayo ng line terms na pwedeng i-factor out. So, kapag pinactor out natin siya, magiging profit before tax times 1 minus tax rate. That's equal to your profit after tax. Divide both sides by 1 minus TR. Ganun din dito, 1 minus TR. Lalabas, your profit before tax is equal to profit after tax divided by 1 minus TR. And i-substitute na lang natin siya dito. Since profit before tax is equal to this, ito, substitute lang natin. Okay, so therefore, kapag with tax tayo, required sales in units natin is equal to fixed cost plus kung ano ba yung profit before tax ko. Profit after tax all over 1 minus tax rate all over contribution margin per unit. Ito naman required sales in peso. Same din, fixed cost plus profit after tax all over 1 minus TR. Okay, all over contribution margin ratio. Subukan natin, what if itong 500,000 na ito after tax yan? And assuming that your tax rate is 20%. Murahin lang natin yung mga hindi na natin kailangan. Fixed cost, 300,000 plus profit after tax which is 500,000 kasi nga in-assume na natin after tax profit na siya. All over 1 minus TR or 100% minus your tax rate. 100% minus 20% is 80%. All over your contribution margin per unit na 32. Ang lalabas dyan, 500,000 divided by 80% is 625,000 plus 300,000, that's 925,000 all over 32. Divide natin siya. 925,000 divided by 30. Lalabas, 28,906.25 units. But can we sell a quarter of a unit? Lalong-lalo na sa mga indivisible products, we cannot do that. General rule, round up. 28,907 units. Exception to this rule is if divisible naman siya. Pero kung indivisible siya, like for example, face mask yung binibenta natin. O sige, para mag-break even tayo, 28,906 at 1/4 ng face mask. Hindi naman pwede. So, i-round up natin siya. Not round off. Bakit? Kasi kapag round off, may possibility like this. No? Pag ni-round off mo to, 28,906. Always round up. 28,907. I will show you why. So, 28,907 times 50. Ang sales natin will be 1,445,350. And then, ang ating 28,907 times 18, yung variable cost natin is 520,326. And then, ang lalabas dyan, pag pinag-subtract mo, 925,024. 925,024 less your fixed cost natin na 300,000, that would be 625,024. 625,024 times 0.2. Ang tax natin is 125,004.80. So ang profit after tax natin would be equal to 500,000, sorry dito pala, okay, 500,019.20. So at 28,907, naabot natin yung desired profit or yung target profit natin. What if 28,906? So ito magiging 1,445,300, and then ito naman 520,308. Ito naman magiging 924,992 less 300,000, 624,992. Multiply natin by 20%, 624,992 times 0.2, 124,998.40. Subtract natin, makukuha natin 499,993.60. Di natin abot. So kapag gano'n na partial yung answer natin, always round para maabot natin yung required sales natin. Now, I want you to observe itong dalawang ito, yung profit before tax natin. 625,024 less 624,990. Ano kaya ang difference nila? 32. Bakit kaya 32? Kasi nga ang difference nila is 1 unit lang, and ang contribution margin per unit natin is 32. Now, what is contribution margin? Contribution margin is that portion of your selling price that is not consumed by your variable cost, and therefore, it contributes to the coverage of your fixed cost. Kasi nga, per unit of product, dahil may portion dyan na variable, i-cover na niya yung sarili niyang variable cost. But, yung tira, it will be used to cover your fixed cost. If you are below the break-even point, ang behavior ng contribution margin is that it contributes to the coverage of your fixed cost. Let's take an example that is below the break-even point. Remember that the break-even point computed a while ago is 9,375. So, kuha tayo, let's say 5,000 and 5,001. Compare natin. So, sales would be 250, dito naman 250,050. Dito naman 90,000 yung variable cost niya, dito 90,018. And ang kanyang contribution margin would be 160,000. Dito naman 160,032. Ang fixed cost natin is 300,000. Take note ha, tignan niyo yung contribution margin. It's not enough to cover your fixed cost. Kasi nga nandun pa tayo sa below ng contribution margin. Pero look, yung loss dito is 140,000 loss. Yan. Dito naman 139,968. Sabi ko nga kanina, ang contribution margin, ang behavior niya below the break-even point is that it contributes to the coverage of your fixed cost. So, bawat isang dagdag ng product na nabebenta would contribute 32 pesos sa pag-cover ng fixed cost. Kaya nga yung loss natin, pabawas ng 32 as we add 1 unit of product. Pero, kapag above break-even point, dahil na-cover na niya yung fixed cost, it will start now contributing to the increase of your profit. Ayan, yung profit before tax natin from 624,992, ang additional product increases your profit before tax by 32, which is your contribution margin per unit. So, ang contribution margin per unit, it contributes to the coverage of your fixed cost. Pero once naabot na niya or na-cover na niya lahat ng fixed cost, ang point na yan is what we call the break-even point. Once it reaches the break-even point, it will now start contributing towards the accumulation of profit. Magkanong profit ang madadagdag ng isang additional na product na mabibenta? Equivalent to your contribution margin per unit. Tama ba itong nakuha natin na sales? Using itong formula na ito, which computes for the required sales in peso. Yung fixed fixed cost natin na 300,000 plus 500,000 divided by 80% divided by 64%. So again, makukuha natin yung 925,000 divided by 64%. Compute natin. 925,000 divided by 0.64. Lalabas 1,445,312.5. Pero that is because 28 times 6.25 yung nakuha natin kanina. Yung lalabas nito 1,445,312.5. Yun nga lang kasi ito, ang natumbas niyan sa units is 28,906.25. Pero kapag 28,907, magbabago yung ating required sales. Magiging ganito. So we now proceed to the next. Gawin natin percentage of sales naman. Percent of sales. What if hindi specific? Ang desired profit natin dapat, let's say, 40% of sales. Hindi siya definite na amount. Let's go back doon sa ating equation kanina. Let's start na lang sa contribution margin, no? Per unit times the number of units plus fixed cost is equal to your profit before tax. Itong profit before tax natin, i-express natin siya in such a way na magiging profit per unit siya times the number of units. Yan na ngayon ang magiging equivalent ng contribution margin per unit times the number of units plus yung fixed cost natin. Dahil meron silang parehas na variable here, which is x, pwede natin silang pagsamahin dito so that we can factor out itong number of units. So CM per unit times the number of units minus your profit per unit times the number of units. At ilipat na lang din natin si fixed cost dito kasi hindi naman siya kasama sa ipa-factor out natin. So pumunta si profit per unit times x dito, si fixed cost naman pumunta doon. Sorry, minus pala to. Contribution margin minus fixed cost is your profit before tax. So pag ilipat si fixed cost dito, magiging positive siya. Now, factor out natin si x. Contribution margin per unit minus profit per unit is equal to fixed cost. Para matira yung x, kailangan natin siya i-divide by contribution margin per unit minus profit per unit. Both sides. Therefore, yung required sales natin in units, kapag percent of sales would be equal to your fixed cost. Without tax muna to ha. Fixed cost all over your contribution margin per unit minus profit per unit. Paano natin kukumpitin yung profit per unit? Multiply lang natin yung selling price per unit times yung profit ratio natin, which will be given naman kapag may mga problems na ganito. So, itong profit per unit is obtained by getting your selling price per unit times your profit ratio percentage. So, ito, i-copy na natin. Fixed cost all over contribution margin per unit minus profit per unit. Try natin. Instead na desired profit na 500,000, let's say na ang kanyang gustong profit is yun nga, 40% of sales. Before, let's say na yung desired profit niya is before tax. Mamaya na lang tayo mag-tax. Sa case letter D. Required sales in peso again is equal to fixed cost all over contribution margin ratio minus your profit ratio. Try natin. Fixed cost, that's equal to 300,000 pesos all over your contribution margin per unit, which is 32, minus profit per unit. Selling price per unit na 50 times your profit ratio, which is 40, that's 20. So 300,000 divided by 12. 300,000 divided by 12 is equal to 25,000 units. Try natin ito. 300,000 fixed cost all over your contribution margin ratio, which is 64%, ina-complete natin kanina, minus your profit ratio na 40%. So 300,000 divided by 24%, makukuha natin 300,000 divided by 0.24, makukuha natin 1,250,000. To check, multiply by selling price per unit, dapat ang makukuha natin 1,250,000 and then 25,000 units times 18, lalabas 450. Ang ating contribution margin is 800,000, less yung fixed cost na 300, profit before tax natin is 500,000. Now, tignan natin kung ang 1,250 times 0.4 is equal to 500,000. Okay? Check natin kung 40% nga ba siya neto or baliktad pa yun. So, check natin kung yung profit ba na lumabas 40% of yung sales natin. 1,250 times 40%, lalabas kaya yung 500,000? Yes. And therefore, na-achieve natin yung desired profit niya na 40% of sales before tax. Okay, so ito yung formula. Next, last na natin ito, last case under desired profit, percent of sales with tax. Meron tayong profit dito per unit, no? So, itong profit per unit na to, gagawin lang natin siyang parang dito. Kasi yung profit before tax natin, pinalitan natin na yung profit after tax all over 1 minus tax rate. So, ganun lang din ang gagawin natin sa kanya. Required sales in units is equal to fixed cost all over contribution margin per unit minus profit per unit divided by 1 minus tax rate. Required sales in peso naman natin, fixed cost all over contribution margin ratio minus yung profit ratio divided by 1 minus tax rate. Yan ang ating formula kapag meron na tayong tax. Let's say, na ang tax rate natin is 20% and gusto pa rin natin maabot itong 40% ng sales. So let's compute. 300,000 na fixed cost divided by contribution margin per unit na 32 minus yung profit per unit 20 divided by 80%, 1 minus tax rate. 300,000 divided by 32 minus, so 20 divided by 0.8 is 25. Therefore, 300,000 over 7. 300,000 over 7 is 42,857.14. I-round up natin siya to 42,858. Check natin kung tama. By the way, ito ay units ito. Check natin. 42,858 times 50. So meron tayong 2,142,900. I-multiply natin yung number of units natin ng 42,858 times 18. 771,444. Makukuha natin yung contribution margin na 1,371,456 minus yung fixed cost natin ng 300,000. Profit before tax natin yung 1,071,456. 1,071,456 times 0.2, 214,291.20. I-subtract natin siya from 1,071,456. Ang lalabas na profit after tax natin would be 857,164.80. Now let's check. Ito ba is 40% of this? Or itong profit ba is 40% of your sales? Check natin. So, yung 2,142,900 natin times 0.4, ang lalabas 857,160. This is more than that amount. Ibig sabihin, we have reached our desired profit, which is 40% of sales after tax. Kasi ang 40% nito is 857,160. Sumobra pa siya. Ganun din, kapag ginamit natin pag nag-round down tayo, hindi niya maaabot. That would be 39%. I-confirm natin kung yung lalabas na peso amount is equal to this. Siyempre, hindi siya equal talaga dahil meron tayong decimal. And therefore, Hindi siya eksakto. But malaki. So, try natin. 300,000 divided by contribution margin ratio 64% minus profit ratio 40% divided by 80%. That will be equal to 300,000 divided by 14%. 300,000 divided by 0.14, 21,428,57.4. Sumobra tayo because of rounding off. Laki lang yung round off natin, no? That is 0.86 times 50. 0.86 times 50, that would be 43. 21,428,57 plus 43, 21,42900. Ito yung reconciliation. Saan ba nanggaling yung difference? Because of the difference, i-round off natin siya eh. Tumaas siya ng 5.86 and ang selling price 50. So 43 yung increase. So we're done with our desired profit. So next sa pag-uusapan natin is yung sales mix. No? Kasi kanina, yung sa pag-compute natin ng break-even point pati sa desired profit, itong 4 cases na ito, there is only one product. So what if yung company na nag-a-analyze sa kanilang cost, volume, and profit, more than one yung product, which is actually yung case oftentimes. Kasi although merong mga businesses na isa lang yung product, pero karamihan, meron silang variety of products. So, what if yung company, meron siyang more than one product? So, let's say na meron isang skincare company na may 3 products. Let's say, yung unang skincare product niya is floor wax, tapos eraser, tsaka sandpaper para mabuo yung face. Okay? So, floor wax, eraser, and sandpaper, yun yung kanilang beauty products. Let's say na yung floor wax, ang kanyang selling price is 15. Yung eraser, sabihin natin ang kanyang selling price is 21. And then yung sandpaper, let's say, ang kanyang presyo is 36. Kasi siguro yung sandpaper yung pinakanakakinis ng mga. Kaya siya yung pinakamahal. Variable cost per unit, let's say, 9. Etong eraser, let's say, 14. And yung sandpaper, let's say, 19. Kung mako-compute natin yung contribution margin per unit nila, which is equivalent to 15 minus 9, 6, 21 minus 14, 7, and 36 minus 19, 7. Now, let's say na ang kanilang fixed cost, syempre, hindi naman siya magkakaroon ng fixed cost per product. Syempre, ang fixed cost is buong company yan. And since isang company lang naman ang nagbebenta ng mga yan, yung fixed cost ay isa lang. So, let's assume that yung fixed cost is 40,000 pesos. Siyempre, dapat may sales mix ratio tayo. Nagbebenta on average yung company na yan ng 1:1:3. Sabihin natin. So, sa bawat isang nabebenta nilang floor wax, nakakabenta sila ng isa pang eraser and 3 sandpaper. Yan yung kanilang sales mix ratio. Mabili talaga siguro itong sandpaper kasi baka siya nga yung pinaka-effective sa FES. So 1:1:3. Now, how are we going to get for the break-even point? Break-even point muna tayo. Actually, all of these formulas, pwede natin i-apply yan sa sales mix ratio. Magkakaroon lang ng change doon sa kanilang denominator. So, unahin natin sa break-even point. What would be our break-even point? It's equal to fixed cost all over, depende. Kung units ang hinahanap natin, fixed cost divided by weighted average unit contribution margin. Kapag break-even point naman in pesos, it's equal to fixed cost all over weighted average contribution margin ratio. Paano natin makukuha itong weighted average unit contribution margin natin? So, kukunin natin yung contribution margin per unit, multiply lang natin dun sa sales ratio. So, ito, 1:1:3, that's equivalent to 20%, 20%, 60%. So, i-multiply natin ito, sales mix ratio doon sa contribution margin per unit. So, 6 times 20%, so unit contribution margin natin is 6 times 20%, that's 1.2. 7 times 20% is 1.4. 17 times 0.6 is 17 times 51 times 102. So 10.2. Okay, 10.2. Plus 1.4, 11.6 plus ito, 12.8. So, 12.8. And then, ang ating fixed cost is yun nga 40,000. So, 40,000 divided by 12.8. I-divide natin 40,000 divided by 12.8. Lalabas, 3,125 total units. Yan ang ibig sabihin nun. Pero paano natin malalaman kung ilang units ng floor wax, ilang units ng eraser, at ilang units ng sandpaper? Hati-hatiin natin yan mamaya. Unahin muna natin mag-solve ng break-even point in pesos. Ano nga bang level of sales yung kailangan natin maabot to break even? So, fixed cost, 40,000. Weighted average contribution margin ratio. Diba ang contribution margin ratio natin is contribution margin over sales or contribution margin per unit all over selling price per unit. Dito naman, let's use the first formula na sinabi ko kanina, yung total contribution margin all over total sales. If susundin natin yung 1:1:3, ang magiging sales natin would be, syempre, okay na lang natin ito kasi isa lang naman nila. So, ang contribution margin nila is 6. No? So, 15 minus 9, 6. 21 minus 14, 7. Kasi yan, isa lang naman nila. And then, ito tatlo daw eh. Sa bawat isang mabenta na dalawa, ayan, tatlo daw nito. So, times 3 natin ito. So, 108, tapos 57. So, tap natin 51. I-add natin yung mga and then 15 plus 21, that's 36. Plus yan, 144. 9 plus 14, 23. Plus 57, 80. So, 64. 6 plus 7, 13. 64 na. Now, 64, yung total contribution margin niya, ito weighted na kasi ito eh. Winay natin siya based on yung sales mix ratio nila. Ang weight kasi nito, F1, ang weight nito is 1, ang weight nito is 3. So, ayan, weighted average na siya. So, 64 over 144, that would now give you your weighted average contribution margin ratio. 64 divided by 144 is equal to 44.44. So, ang makukuha natin dito would be 90,000 pesos. Ibig sabihin, we need to sell a total of 90,000 pesos or 3,125 units. Ngayon, paano natin hahati-hatiin yan? Kailangan natin mahati-hati ito sa kanilang F, E, tsaka S. Ilang F ba? Ilang E, ilang S? Simple lang. Itong 3,125 units na ito, we just multiply it by the sales mix ratio. 3,125 times 0.2. So, 625 units ng floor wax. 625 units din ng eraser. Multiply lang natin by 3, 187. So, in order to break even, itong company na to has to sell 625 pieces of floor wax, 625 pieces of eraser, and 1,875 pieces of sandpaper. Pag inan mo yan, tatlo, lalabas a total of 3,125 units. Now, how about ito? Paano natin hahati-hatiin? Are we going to multiply itong 90% by 20, 20, and 60%? No. Kasi try natin ha. 90,000 times 20%, anong lalabas? 18,000. Ito 18,000. Ito how much? Times 6, 54,000. 54, 72, 90. Okay, tama. Let's check. 625. Pagkano ang selling price niya? 625 times 15. Titignan natin kung equal pa siya sa 18,000. 625 times 15 is 9,375. Which is not equal to 18,000. So, mali. May mali na i-multiply natin yung 90,000 which is our break-even point in peso by the sales mix ratio. Saan din natin siya i-multiply kung hindi sa sales mix ratio? Manggagaling siya dito sa weighted average natin. Kung multiply natin itong 90,000 sa 15 over 144. Saan nakuha itong 15 over 144? 15 over yung total. Ito naman, 21/144. Ito naman, 108/144. Try natin. 90,000 times 50 divided by 144. Lalabas, 9375. Try natin yung iba. 90,000 times 21 divided by 144. This is 13,125. And lastly, yung 90,000 natin times 108 divided by 144, 67,500. So, ganyan daw yung hatian nila. Ito yung kay F, ito yung kay E, ito yung sa sandpaper. Now, i-check natin. Is 625 times 15 equal to 9375? Is 625 times 21 equal to 13,125? And is 1,875 multiplied by 36 equal to 67,500? I-check natin. 625 times 15 is 9375. So, equal siya. Tama yan. 625 times 21 is 13,125. Tama ulit. And lastly, 1,875 times 36 is, yes, 67,500. So, ganyan tayo magpo-compute ng break-even point kapag merong sales mix. Pag may desired profit naman, ganun din. Just change etong sa baba. Gawin lang natin weighted average yung contribution margin. Kapag contribution margin per unit yung original na denominator nito, kapag may sales mix, gawin lang natin siyang weighted average unit contribution margin. Kapag contribution margin ratio naman, weighted average contribution margin naman. Ganun lang. So, yun nga, pag isa lang yung product, ganun lang, ganito lang. Pero, pag meron siyang sales mix, gawin lang natin weighted average yung contribution margin na gagamitin natin. That's it for sales mix. Punta na tayo doon sa last two. And this has something to do with risk. Okay? Una dyan would be our margin of safety. Margin of safety, ito yung formula niyo. Meron tayong tatlong paraan para kumuha ng margin of safety. Meron tayong margin of safety in units, margin of safety in pesos, and margin of safety ratio. Paano natin kukompute ito? Itong margin of safety in units. Sales in units minus your break-even point in units. Next, sales in pesos naman dito. Kapag ang hinahanap natin is margin of safety in pesos, sales in peso minus your break-even point in pesos. And then lastly, yung ating margin of safety ratio, margin of safety in units all over your sales in units. Or, margin of safety in pesos all over. Buuin na naman. Okay, sales in units, tsaka sales in pesos. So, tinitignan ng margin of safety yung layo natin or yung layo ng pinaplano nating level of sales doon sa break-even. Kasi nga, yung break-even, yan yung boundary ng loss and profit. So, syempre, we want to be in the area kung saan nagkakaroon tayo ng profit. Pagdating natin sa break-even point, kung galing tayo sa profit and then we are approaching the break-even point, susunod na dyan, loss. And we don't want that. So, itong margin of safety, minimeasure niya kung gaano pa tayo kalayo from the danger zone, which is yung loss area. Baka kasi meron kayong iniisip na promotions or pakulo or something like that that could affect your level of sales. Pwedeng risky yun. Kung mataas yung margin of safety natin, maybe pwede natin gawin yun kasi anyway, safe naman tayo. Anyway, hindi naman yan magre-result sa loss. Of course, pwedeng mangyari na less profit pero at least profit pa rin. Pero at least hindi loss. You can do that, you can experiment sa mga sales promotions and other stuff na iniisip mo na medyo risky kung mataas yung margin of safety. Kaya lang kung mababa yung margin of safety mo, naku, huwag mo nang isipin yan. Baka kung ano pang mangyari sa profit mo, baka mawala pa. So yan ang importance ng margin of safety. Ito lang yung mga formula kailangan natin. Last na pag-uusapan natin would be the operating leverage factor, which is a measure of the sensitivity of something in relation with another. Specifically dito sa operating leverage factor, tinitingnan natin yung sensitivity ng profit in response to changes in sales. Gaano ba kalaki yung igagalaw ng ating profit kapag gumalaw yung sales natin? Yun ang minimeasure ng operating leverage factor. Ano nga ba ang formula itong operating leverage factor na ito? Operating leverage factor is equal to your total contribution margin. Hindi contribution margin per unit ha. Total contribution margin all over your profit before tax. And katugtog nito, yung percent change in profit is equal to percent change in sales times your operating leverage factor. So yung operating leverage factor natin is equal to total CM over profit before tax, and then yung percent change in profit is equal to percent change in sales times your operating leverage factor. Subukan natin yung kanina, no? Yung example natin kanina. Yung selling price natin is 50. Variable cost per unit is 18. So malamang ang contribution margin per unit is 32. What if gagalaw yung sales, magkakaroon siya ng increase na let's say, it will increase by 20%. Kunwari, tataas siya ng 20%. So, what will happen sa ating profit? Yung sales natin tataas daw siya ng 20%. Ano mangyayari sa profit natin? So, syempre ito, 20% times OLF, ang lalabas yung percent change in profit natin, which we don't know yet. Kasi nga, hindi pa natin alam yung OLF. I-solve natin contribution margin over profit before tax. So, yung ating total contribution margin, maglagay na lang tayo ng example natin na level of sales. No? Let's say, yung 25,000 na sales kanina. 25,000 units multiplied by 32 para makuha yung contribution margin na total, that would be 800,000. Check natin. 25,000 times 30. Yes, 800,000 nga. All over your profit before tax. So kung 800,000 yan, di ba ang sales natin is 1,250. Ang ating variable cost is 450. That's 25,000 times 18. So ang lalabas dyan, 800,000. Kaya minsan, pwede na natin i-skip yung pag-compute natin sa sales and variable cost. Kasi pwede naman na tayong dumiretso sa contribution margin. It's just your contribution margin per unit times yung number of units. Skip na natin to, okay na. So, 800,000, no? And then, yung fixed cost natin is 300,000 yung ginagamit natin usually. So, hindi ko ito isulat dyan. Fixed cost is equal to 300,000. So, ang ating profit before tax is 500,000 pesos. Now, to compute our operating leverage factor, CM, which is 800,000, divided by your profit before tax na 500,000 pesos. Anong lalabas? Ang lalabas would be 1.6. So, your operating leverage factor is 1.6. I-multiply natin itong 20% by 1.6. Ang lalabas would be 32%. The Greek letter delta is used to denote change. Percent change in profit is equal to 32%. Ibig sabihin, if our sales would increase by 20%, our profit will increase by 32%. Let's prove that. Ito yung sales, ito yung variable cost, ito yung contribution margin, ito yung fixed cost, ito yung profit before tax. By the way, itong profit na ito, profit before tax, yung pinag-usapan natin dito. 1,250 times 1.2. 1.5 million na siya. So, yung sales natin is na 1.5 million. Kapag nag-increase ang sales level natin, malamang tataas din yung units natin, assuming that our selling price is constant. Assume natin constant yung selling price natin, ibig sabihin magtataas tayo sa sales volume. 25,000 units, multiply natin siya by 1.2. So, naging 30,000 units na siya. 120% increase, magiging 30,000 units na siya. Times 50, ito, 1.5 million sales. Variable cost, of course, tataas din yan kasi 30,000 units na yung binibenta natin. So, 30,000 times 18, 540,000 na variable cost. And then, ang ating contribution margin, therefore, is now 960,000. Minus fixed cost, it will not change kahit pag tumaas yung sales level natin, 300,000 pa rin yung fixed cost. Profit before tax is 660,000. Now let's compare. Is 1,250,000 multiplied by 120% equal to 1.5? Yes, kasi nga nagkaroon ng 20% increase. Sorry, 20% increase pala. Pag nagkaroon ng 20% increase sa units natin, magiging 30,000 units, magiging 1.5 yung level of sales natin in pesos. So, na-check natin, no? 1,250,000, i-increase natin by 20%, magiging 1.5. Now, yung profit before tax, kapag ba in-increase natin yan by 32%, would it be equal to 660,000? I-check natin. So, 500,000 multiplied by 1.32, yes, 660,000 na siya. That's how we check. Checking lang itong ginawa natin na this is not part of the solution. Ang solution ito. Ito lang. So, you start with computing for the operating leverage factor, and then after that, you compute for the percent change in profit by multiplying your OLF times your percent change in sales. So I hope this video has been very helpful for your understanding. No? So sana nakatulong nga siya sa pag-unawa ninyo sa topic natin, which is cost volume profit analysis. See you again on our next video. Thank you so much for your continuous cooperation in our classes. Para sa inyo lang din naman ito. Sincerely, we thank you for your support and your cooperation. Kaming mga teachers ninyo sa strategic cost management. Bye!